Lil Skies is a rapper out of Chambersville, Pennsylvania, who developed a passion for music really early on. He was one of the biggest rappers during the Soundcloud era, but in recent years, he seemed to kind of disappear from the internet. However, in recent months, he's started dropping music again, and he has had a pretty crazy journey leading up to this point. So what exactly happened to Lil Skies? Lil Skies' father, who went by the name Dark Skies, was an aspiring hip-hop artist and exposed Lil Skies to music and brought him to the studio with him at a very early age, as early as 4 years old. His passion for music was instilled by his father, and their love for music runs through the entire family. Lil Skies' brother, Cameron Hauser, even makes music. The whole family is invested and loves music in one way or another. So as Skies was growing up through school, his father continued to expose him to music and bring him to the studio, and Lil Skies actually started making music of his own. However, in 2010, Lil Skies' father was involved in a chemical explosion which left him with third-degree burns and made him take a step back from music. Thankfully, his father is alive and well today. I'm sure this incident drove him deeper into music and his will to succeed, and that he did. When he was a teenager, all he wanted to do was rap, and he found his passion and purpose through making music. Even before high school, he was developing his sound, and he was heavily inspired by artists like Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa, and Mac Miller. There are tracks on YouTube of Lil Skies releasing songs in 2011 and 2012, and most of the songs he's just rapping on them, but over the years he started to develop a more melodic sound, which is actually one of the main reasons why he blew up and people love his music so much. And Lil Skies would continue to release music through high school, but would start to take things more serious after he graduated from high school, and 2017 was a major year for Lil Skies. He began collaborating with producers like Menno Beats and began dropping music more consistently. This was the beginning of the SoundCloud era, and it worked for Skies' benefit because he was able to release music onto the platform, and it was one of the biggest things on social media at the time. He released tracks at the beginning of 2017, with some tracks called Fake, Some Way, and then the song that rose him to the top of the SoundCloud rap game in 2017, which was produced by Menno Beats, and that song was called Red Roses featuring Landing Cube. This song was released in mid-2017, and it was during this time that Lil Skies caught the attention of Cole Bennett, who is a creative music director and owner of the Lyrical Lemonade YouTube channel. Pretty much if you're a rapper and you get featured on the Lyrical Lemonade YouTube channel, you are more than likely to blow up in the rap scene, as we have seen with so many other artists, and Lil Skies was no exception. When this song dropped in 2017, it started gaining traction extremely quick, and it was in 2017 that Lil Skies signed a record deal with Atlantic Records, securing him a large sum of money and allowing him to pursue an already successful rap career. He continued working with Cole Bennett, releasing music videos for his tracks like Nowadays, Creepin', and Welcome to the Rodeo. Nowadays is actually one of the most popular music videos on the Lyrical Lemonade channel to this day, and Lil Skies was at the top of everyone's radar. It was at the beginning of 2018 that he released his project Life of the Dark Rose, which is one of the best projects from the SoundCloud era in my opinion, and it highlights his melodic sound and versatility as an artist in the hip-hop genre. He was growing by the day, and Lil Skies was securing his name in the rap industry. He would even go on to collaborate with some of his idols growing up, such as Wiz Khalifa, which just goes to show that he was making some really good connections in the rap industry. He would grow in popularity and release another album on March 1st, 2019, dedicated to his mother, and the album's name was Shelby. It was also in 2019 when he announced that he was going on tour with Lil Pump, and this helped to boost his career. However, a few months after Shelby was released, his son was born, and this is when Lil Skies had a noticeable change in his perspective of social media and being a rapper. Honestly, I don't think Lil Skies was too fond of social media from the start, because he realized how, toxic and mean people can be on the internet. But when his son was born, his focus shifted. He seemingly disappeared from social media and only released a few singles throughout that year, leaving his fan base a little confused and missing Lil Skies. There also seemed to be behind the scenes drama with Atlantic Records, which was the record label that he was signed to. I've seen a lot of people say that Lil Skies ruined his career and all types of things like that, but I honestly don't think that's true. Lil Skies still has a really strong fan base, and if anything, it's really good that he took the time off that he needed in order to focus on being a father. I think that's a really mature decision, and despite getting a lot of flack on social media for not being as present on social media or or as consistent with dropping music. I mean, I think it's really good and it's really cool, even being such a big artist, that he was able to take a step back and focus on his family and the things that were important to him, despite what people have to say on social media. So 2020 was a quiet year for Lil Skies, but in 2021 he ended up dropping another album called Unbothered, which did 15K in sales in the first week. And this wasn't as good as his previous sales, but like I said, he was pretty distant from social media, which is really important for an artist in today's generation. I think that's one thing that contributed to the lower sales numbers. Also, it was clear that his quality of music dropped a little bit from his previous albums, and he started to change and experiment with his style, which isn't a bad thing, but everybody kept telling Skies to go back to his older type of music where he wasn't freestyling and he was making more melodic music. And the end of 2021 leading into 2022 was another quiet year on social media for Lil Skies. Being on social media and all the flack that he got on social media contributed to his struggle with depression, which he has been very vocal about throughout his career. And social media can take a toll on virtually anyone if you spend enough time on it. So Lil Skies continued to focus on his family, and 2022 was another quiet year, but it was clear that he wasn't happy with his record deal with Atlantic Records, and he was pushing to become an independent artist due to behind the scenes drama. And it wasn't until mid 2023 that Lil Skies announced on an Instagram live that he was now an independent artist, meaning that he is able to drop music whenever he wants. And he honestly seemed thrilled about this new decision and seemed excited for the first time in a while to drop music. Since announcing his independent journey as an artist, Lil Skies has dropped 2 singles called How Things Go and Wake Up, which have been very well received by his fan base. How Things Go especially was well received from his fan base as he took a dive back into his more melodic sounds. And I think that the future for Lil Skies is bright, even if he's not focused on music as much as he was in the past. I mean, as of today, he has over 5 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and since the time that he's blown up, which was in the past 6 or 7 years, he has gained a very strong fan base. And I think that he has the ability to become more of a mainstream artist and like at the top of the rap industry if he really wanted to, if he started to release more albums and was more consistent on social media. But like I said, if he doesn't want to do it, that makes a lot of sense, especially if it takes a toll on his mental health. It is very good to see that he is focusing on his family despite being a famous artist. Now that he's an independent artist, he has full control of his music, so it's really up to him whether or not he wants to release music. But I'm very hopeful for Lil Skies' future, and even if he doesn't go that hard with music, he has definitely cemented his name in hip-hop history.